So, my name is Grisha Patel, and I will be talking about exposure theories. The first exposure theory is the systematic desensation theory, and the second one is flooding, and the third one is modeling. All these three theories are therapies are actually helping someone get over the fear of a phobia. The first one is systematic desensation, and this is a behavior theory based on classical conditioning. So this was developed by Wolf during the 1950s. This specific theory it tries to get rid of your fear response of a phobia and replaces it with relaxation. So whenever you're approached upon your phobia, you wouldn't respond to it as like you're scared of it or anything. You would basically respond to it like, okay, this is okay, like this is real, like I'm okay, like nothing will happen to me, I'm not scared of this anymore. That's how this therapy was helping someone get over their phobia. So there are three phases in this therapy, in this treatment actually. And the first one, the person is taught to do a deep muscle relaxation technique and breathing exercises. And this is because when you think about your phobia, whatever your phobia is, there's many in the world. If you think about it, the first thing you do is get stressed, you get tense, you're very scared of it because just the thought about your phobia, it makes you extremely scared. So if you're if the doctor trying to do this therapy, she wants you to be relaxed. He wants you to be breathing through this. He doesn't want you to panic. So this is the first phase, is to teach them to be calm, be okay. It will be okay. Don't worry, like that. And then the second one talks about how fear so the doctor basically takes you in, and then he tries to create this group. Basically it's about like a order, and it's a fear order. So he starts from the first one, and it's about your phobia usually, and he creates the first one at the least anxiety, so the least fear, and builds it up in stages and the most fear provoking images. It doesn't have to be images, it can be also the object or your phobia, whatever it is in general. So he usually takes this and tests you by it. So first, let's take into consideration you're scared of a spider. You have a phobia of a spider. He'll make you think about it first, which is the least anxiety fear. You know, you're getting stressed, you're getting tense, but it's not as bad. And then he looks at the then he gives you a picture to look at. You're okay, it's not real. So then he tries to provoke you into doing something a little bit to another level, like looking at the real thing. So now you're looking at the real thing. Well, you're thinking to yourself, well, you're scared, you don't want to touch it, you're trying to avoid the situation. But this is another level you're trying to acquire. So then let's say you acquire that level by looking at the spider. So then he holds the object. He makes you hold the object. So basically he makes you hold the spider in a box. It can be in a box. This is just another level. He makes you hold when you're looking at a real thing, it's actually, let's say the spider is in a box on a table. That's if you're looking towards it. And then he makes you hold the box. So you're looking at your spider, you're scared of it, obviously you're afraid, you have no clue, you want to avoid this, you're panicking. So that's when the deep muscle relaxation technique comes in, and breathing exercises. Next, let's say you acquire that. Next, what he makes you do is you get a little distance. So he makes you come a little bit closer to the object. He sees how you react. He jots all those notes down, and then he gets a little bit closer with the box. And at a time he might get a little bit more closer. And let's say he opens up the box, and the spider is there. And then you acquire that. By the way, this takes time. It takes hours. This is being taken time by time. I'm saying this, yes, in like 2 minutes, but obviously if you're with the doctor, he's going to take time. He's going to take maybe a day, maybe 2 days, maybe a week. You never know how fast you can acquire these skills. You get closer, he opens the box, you look at it, and then maybe he makes you touch it. Or then he makes you acquire that skill after a while. Maybe he makes you hold it. Until you're physically experiencing your fear, he makes you do all these little steps to come up to that part. The last step is the person works their way up to the way of the order. You try to get to the unpleasant stage that you're trying to play. And while doing this, you're practicing the relaxation technique. He doesn't want you to tense up. He doesn't want you to panic. He's trying to make you feel okay. And if at any point he or she feels like you feel unpleasant, he or she are willing to be able to start back from an earlier stage. Let's say you're okay with just the box closed. He'll start from that stage. And once you acquire that, he'll keep going on. These are just levels and phases that you have to accomplish to overcome your fear. And that's what the doctor is basically explaining to, and that's what this theory is all about. This exposure can be done in two ways. In vitro, person imagines exposure to the phobic thing. So this can be done by, you can look at it clearly in a picture and you'll be okay. Or you can also do the in vivo, where the person actually exposes the phobic thing. Where this is when you're at mostly by the end of the after the order, where the doctor is trying to make you get closer to this, and he's trying to make you overcome this. It seems to be highly effective where the problem is learned anxiety of a specific object and situations. He is making you try, and it's very effective. Clearly, that's what studies have shown. It's very effective, and it works just time by time. You just have to take it. Next, what we have. This is just a picture of what I was saying about the spider. We're taking. See, it's showing the picture of it. You hold the picture of it. The spider gets closer. He holds it in his hand. You hold it. You see it on the table. He holds it a bit. You hold it again. And it takes time by time, Nothing like this happens very quickly. That's what this therapy is for. Next, what we have is flooding. This is another behavioral therapy where the theory behind this is the fear is learned. So basically, people say as they predict that they're saying in flooding therapy, they're saying that this fear is learned by something. Something happened when you were young, so you're scared of it now. And so basically, they say to get over this fear, you have to unlearn it to exposure by the thing that you fear. Flooding aims to do is exposure the sufferer to the phobic object or situation for an extended time in a safe, controlled environment. So basically what they try to do, let's say you get scared of a spider when you were younger because it bit you. So now you're so scared of it, you have a fear of it. So what the doctor does is gets a spider that doesn't bite or something and puts you in a room with it in a safe environment, controlled environment, and he tries to make you get comfortable with it, hopefully you get unlearned, hopefully your fear is over by the end of that period, because it takes time. And as systematic desensation is used in vitro and virtual exposure, flooding is used in vivo exposure. First, the person is in state of anxiety, tension, but with time, exhaustion takes place, the anxiety level begins to go down. So you're in a room, you have anxiety, tension, but with time, you're just exhausted. You can't do anything about it, so then your anxiety level goes to go down. Then the person will do everything and anything they can to avoid the situation, but they have no choice but to face their fear. When the panic goes down, they realize there is no harm. So you're in a panic stage, but you have no choice. You're in that room, you can't escape. You have no choice but to face your fear. So your panic goes down and you realize that the spider is no harm to you. And then that's when the fear is unlearned. They don't really use this therapy anymore because it's very dangerous if you're not careful and if it's not done the right way. And this is not the right way to treat a phobia, because this is more of a dangerous situation, because it can lead to panic attacks, heart attacks, something that can cause a lot of tension on yourself, pressure, and some people can't handle the high levels of anxiety. So this therapy is not very used very often nowadays, but it is an option. So basically this guy can't escape. If he has to cross the other side, you can see that he has no way unless if he does this. So he has no choice. He calms down and understands that he has to do this. So he does, and he gets through with it. And he basically unlearned a fear of heights because he had no choice but to walk through on the rope to get to the other side. The third behavior therapy is modeling. This can be paired with systematic desensation. This therapy is where the person is observing others who are in the presence of the phobic thing, who are responding in a calm relaxation rather than fearing. So this is basically, there's a person who is looking at someone else. Let's say you're scared of spiders. So you see someone else, a friend, is playing with spiders, they're comfortable with spiders, they're okay. So then you start to realize that it's okay, there's no harm in them. So then you start to imitate what they're doing. So this model is basically how you, not model, but this is how modeling relieves your phobia. This therapy helps you do that. So this is also a theory based on the works of Alex Bandura, where in his basic principle was where people can change by just watching other people successfully cope with their problems they face. So this can also be done. This seems to be very beneficial also because you usually do things your other friends do. You observe what your friends do. So this can also be very successful in a way, especially if it's paired with systematic desensation. Systematic desensation is the number one highly effective behavioral therapy. And then especially pairing it with modeling, it's the same way. When in a deeper stage in systematic desensation, you're basically watching someone else have the spider on your arm and you see there's no harm, so you take it on your arm. And this is the third way for behavioral therapy. You can see, let's say he's afraid of cricket because of the bat, because he got hit when he was younger. So he's observing other people play cricket. He's saying, oh, there's no harm. So there is another way that he can, maybe if he tries, there won't be any harm. So that's observing. So that was all. Those were the 3 exposure therapies, the behavioral therapies that can be used: systematic desensation, flooding, and modeling.